All right, let's talk about something that, for a lot of us, comes with a ton of baggage, your credit score. But you know what? Today, we're going to try and lift that weight. We're going to completely reframe how you think about credit, turning it from this thing that causes shame or stress into just a simple, practical tool.
So let's just dive right in with a really big question. What if that three-digit number, what if it had absolutely nothing to do with who you are as a person? I mean, your intelligence, your character, how hard you work. What if it meant none of that?
See, that is the huge mindset shift we're going for here. To start seeing credit as something totally impersonal, just functional. It's not a judgment, it's just a tool like a calculator that you can use to build the life you want. And that's exactly what we're going to break down in the next few minutes.
But look, to get there, we first have to talk about the elephant in the room, right? And that is the fear. So many of us are just, well, we're taught to be afraid of our credit score.
Just be honest with yourself for a second. That idea of logging in, of actually looking at your credit report, does it fill you with dread? Maybe a pit in your stomach? If it does, I want you to know you are so far from alone.
And this is really the crucial point. That avoidance, that fear of the unknown, that's what actually holds people back. It stops you from taking action. Because the story you're telling yourself about what might be on that report, well, it's almost always way worse than the reality.
Okay, so let's just dismantle that fear. And the way we do that is by replacing it with facts. It is time to completely reframe how we think about what credit really is.
And this really gets to the heart of the misunderstanding. On one side, you have what society kind of tells us, that a low credit score is some kind of moral failing, a character flaw. But the reality, it's so much simpler. It's just data. It's a snapshot in time of how you've handled borrowed money. That's it. It's your financial history, sure, but it is absolutely not your destiny.
Which brings us right back to that tool metaphor. Think about it. A calculator isn't good or bad. It just does a job, right? It performs a function. Well, credit is the exact same thing. It's just an instrument, and its only real job is to help you reach a financial goal.
So let's be crystal clear about this. Your score is not a judgment of your character. It is not a moral report card of your worth. And maybe most important of all, it is not permanent. It's a living, breathing number that you totally have the power to change over time.
Okay, so if it's just a number, how is it even calculated? Let's pull back the curtain and actually look at the mechanics. Because this is where the anxiety starts to fade away, and a real strategy can begin.
And here it is. This is basically the recipe for your credit score. And you can see right away, not all the ingredients are equal. I mean, look at this. Two things, payment history and credit utilization. They make up a whopping 65% of your score. That's huge. And it tells us exactly where we should focus our energy if we want to make the biggest impact.
Let's start with the heavyweight champion, right? Payment history. It makes up 35% of your score. And it's as simple as it sounds. Do you pay your bills on time? Every single on-time payment helps build a stronger history. Now, yeah, a late payment does have an impact, but here's the key. A new, consistent pattern of paying on time can absolutely start to rewrite that history.
All right, next up, at a big 30%, is something called credit utilization. I know, it sounds super technical, but it's really just the percentage of your available credit that you're using. So for example, if you have a card with a $10,000 limit and you have a $3,000 balance, your utilization is 30%. The general rule of thumb is to keep this number as low as you can, and for sure, try to stay below that 30% mark.
Okay, now it's time to bust one of the biggest myths out there. This is the one that directly feeds into that fear of looking that we were talking about. The big question, does checking your own score actually hurt it?
The answer is a huge, simple no. It does not. See, when you check your own credit, it's called a soft pull, and it has zero impact on your score. A hard pull, on the other hand, that's what happens when you formally apply for new credit, like a car loan or a mortgage. And even then, the impact is usually pretty minor, and it's temporary.
So here's the takeaway, and it's a really important one. You can and you absolutely should check your own credit. Look at it weekly, look at it monthly, as often as you want. Because knowledge gives you power. It replaces that fear, and it lets you track your progress, spot any errors, and actually build a real strategy.
Okay, we've swapped out fear for facts. Now let's turn that knowledge into action. What are some real, concrete steps you can take to start improving your credit, like right now?
Here are 2 quick wins that can actually have a pretty fast impact. First, focus on paying down any high credit card balances. Every single dollar you pay down lowers that utilization ratio we just talked about. Second, and this is a great tip, you can actually call your credit card company and ask for a credit limit increase. Now the key is, if they approve it, you don't spend more. That way, your utilization ratio instantly drops, and that can give your score a really nice little boost.
Now, it's great to have those quick wins, but building a truly strong credit history, well, it's more of a marathon, not a sprint. It takes patience and consistency. It's all about those small strategic actions that you take over time. That's what creates the massive results. It's about strategy over panic every single time.
And this is what it feels like when you get to the other side. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Once you finally stop avoiding it and start actually managing it, you realize, wow, the fear I was carrying around was so much worse than the actual reality.
So let's bring this all home. By shifting your perspective and then taking these kinds of strategic actions, you can totally transform your entire relationship with credit.
And really, this is the ultimate goal, isn't it? It's not about chasing some mythical perfect 850 score. It's about getting to a place of confidence. It's that feeling of knowing exactly where you stand, having a clear plan, and just feeling in control of your own financial journey.
And the payoff for this, it's so tangible. Good credit management isn't just about a number. It's about what that number unlocks for you. We're talking lower interest rates on things like mortgages and car loans, which can literally save you thousands of dollars. It means having more options, more negotiation power, and just a clearer, way less stressful path to whatever your biggest goals are.
So I'm going to leave you with this one final thought. Just imagine for a second that the fear is gone. Imagine credit is just another tool in your toolbox. What decisions could you make then? What bold moves could you start planning? What big goals could you finally start working towards? Just think, what would be possible?